I'm going to go ahead and get us kicked off, and we'll um we'll just kind of allow folks to trickle in as they will. We can go from there. But welcome everybody who was able to attend live to session three, Smarter by Summer. And for those of you who are tuning in on the recording, welcome back. Hopefully, you were able to have a productive afternoon while we were going live. Now, before we get too far, let's go ahead and let's celebrate some of the small wins. I have seen quite a few emails come through my desk as to just little moments that some of these prompts have been successful for you guys to actually use inside your business. It seems like some of the most successful ones have been, perhaps not even shockingly, generating social media content and being able to use the scheduling tools that places like Facebook or Meta, as well as some of the different other platforms have for scheduling out content, kind of batch posting things a week in advance. And I really think that unfortunately, because we live in a social media focused society, we have to feed the algorithm, I suppose you could say. And so if we're able to drive a little bit of value, if we're able to feed the algorithm and get our message out, that's awesome, and that effort will compound. I truly believe it. But that's kind of been the wins that I've been seeing. Now, my co-host in this endeavor is our expert, I suppose, our resident AI aficionado, Kristen Carter. Kristen is not only one of the top realtors in the Phoenix, Arizona area, but she is actually one of the owners and the admins for the AI ChatGPT Facebook group that we are all a part of. She also works as an AI educator and coach. She does one-on-one with real estate agents and teams, helping you guys look at how you can actually implement AI into your business. And if you hang out all the way through this, or if you're watching this at home and you just like skipped all the way past the best stuff, Kristen has a special offer that we've been presenting to you guys so that you could actually spend some time with her. So, uh, her work kind of sits in lots of different areas, from hosting different AI events like this one that we're on right now, as well as being a panelist at different events. I think the Keller Williams event was the one that she most recently spoke at, but she's all over the place, and she is such a wise individual when it comes to how to apply AI into real estate. And so, anytime you get the opportunity to spend some time with her, anytime you get the opportunity to learn from or get coached by her, you should absolutely take that one up. She is just absolutely one of my favorites for just brainstorming with, celebrating about how AI is moving in the real estate space. And she lives on the real estate side. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Cody Stepp. I actually sit on the technology side. So my work sits at the interstate of real estate, technology, and AI. And I am actually actively working to bring into the market the platform that I believe is going to move real estate technology forward. And I say that because we're actually actively working to obsolete the CRM as you know it. And we're doing that using AI. The systems that are mostly available right now, they're either not using AI or they're just simply duct taping, as I like to say, features onto it that aren't really done in a way that can help you. So the work that I do and that I put into the world is actually helping real estate agents with that. Now, I've been in real estate technology professionally for the last 6 years, but I like to point out my first day of work, actually in this very basement, was the photo that you see on that top left-hand side. And I am the second generation real estate technologist. I've grown up helping real estate tech and real estate agents with their tech through proxy with my father, Mark Stepp. He and I get to work together, and it's been a lot of fun. But I get the opportunity to teach you guys all about AI, and I have been teaching AI since ChatGPT released into the public space. And that was, gosh, November 2023, I believe, 2022, something like that. Dates escape me, but it's been a wild and crazy last couple of years. And truthfully, AI has gone from this really novel thing into a really practical tool that you can use in your business. I started off learning about it myself, and then I've been able to help real estate agents just like you do that. But there are two different types of real estate agents that are going to be in this room and going to be watching this replay. It's the folks that are maybe just trying to figure out what AI is. Maybe you're starting to dabble, and if that's you, welcome. You're in the right place. And there's also folks that maybe you've been in the AI space just as long as Kristen and I have, and you feel like you've got a good handle on that. Well, welcome to you as well. I like to think that we are all students here. I say expert about Kristen, but realistically, unless you've been doing this since the 1960s with some of the really, really early, not even really computer-based AI models, we don't really have experts in the space. The space is still kind of forming. And so there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot to learn from with each other. And so that's the power in the Facebook community that we are directly plugged into. But that's also the power of attending these events and learning from us. So I like to share. I shared this last time. I have a mentor by the name of Russell Brunson, and one of his teaching philosophies is this idea of what is the next logical step, and that idea carries over to, gosh, what should you be sharing with folks that could be valuable to them that they kind of need to know next, and maybe they don't even realize what that next logical step should be. Well, for us in this specific challenge, we started off, and maybe you were asking, gosh, what even is AI? And we tried to dispel that in plain English. And then we spent 25 days doing some prompts. And then in session two, I brought this idea to you that is near and dear to my heart because it starts to infuse the ideas that real estate technology brings to the space with workflow automations. And so we put on our hats as systems thinkers and looked at what systems thinking is when you add AI to it. And today, what we're going to be doing is I'm actually going to be trying to tie a nice little bow on everything, and I'm going to be showcasing to you guys the actual tools that are available in the AI landscape. Now, it's worth noting before we get too far, I'm only going to showcase three examples, but these are three examples that I personally use each and every day. And anyone who either gets trained by me or any of my customers that go through my platform, they're also using these tools. In fact, I do believe even in this very meeting, our very first tool is being used. So these are really practical things. And if you were to apply just these three tools, your business would be better off for it. So that's what we've got going on. But without further ado, I want to start off by giving you guys a little bit of a concept to chew on. And it's this idea of the adoption curve. Now, an adoption curve is just the idea of like, gosh, how many people are actually starting to use something, right? So I would say that if we were to look at automobiles, we're probably pretty far to the right on the adoption curve. If we were to look at grilled cheese sandwiches, we would probably, again, be really far on the right. But with AI, specifically in real estate, it's a little bit more split, but we're actually pretty far to the left. And this is an idea that Kristen shared a little bit earlier on our ChatGPT Facebook group that we're pretty early to this game. So if you're here, if you're watching this replay, you're early to the game. That's excellent news because that means you are going to have the skill set that is going to carry across the next probably half dozen, if not more, years as you work to build a really powerful real estate business. And I like to teach the idea of building world-class client experiences, really infusing the human element, making sure that we're showing up for our people in the best way we possibly can, and then using the AI tools as just that, tools, so that we can actually do that. But inside the AI adoption curve, you're going to see that we have what I've kind of broken out into three different types of agents. We've got our dabblers, our explorers, our systems thinkers, and then our accelerators. So your dabblers are probably where most folks find themselves. Maybe they're copy and pasting prompts from things like prompt libraries. Maybe you're using free tools like ChatGPT, but oftentimes this is driven by novelty. These are one-time use cases. You're not necessarily doing multiple skill sets stacked on each other. And that's going to segue us into our explorers. And that's realistically where the first probably 80% of people fall. And, how stats often go, I believe there's a book about this, the 80-20. But the next 35% of folks fall into what we call explorers. These are the people who they've taken on those tools and they've actually started to put a little bit of intention behind how they do that. And I would wager that just for following along in this event, you are already on the Explorer and you're probably ready for these next couple of steps. And so your explorers are looking at things like ChatGPT Pro, where you're actually paying for a subscription. Maybe you're using custom GPTs, and we'll dive into those a little bit later. Or maybe you're doing things in other platforms that are using AI. One of my favorite ones is Canva, or even just drafting emails. Now, my systems thinkers are, again, kind of referring back to our last session where you're taking the power of AI and you're starting to look at, gosh, how can I make my life just a little bit easier using AI? And that's going to be folks who are starting to see repeatable tasks that they can design and build AI into. Maybe you've started adding things like the Google Workspace, or you're parsing, which is a fancy way of saying you're looking at information and you're moving it elsewhere through tools like Zapier. Or maybe you're even just using calendars or organization tools like Trello. All of these are great ways to start organizing your business, and we can use AI in each and every one of those. And that leads us to our far right-hand side. And this time it's not grilled cheeses, it's actually our accelerators. These are the agents who are oftentimes hanging out with me all the time. These are kind of where my customers sit, and they're building systems using AI enhanced tools. These are things like SAM, our AI first platform that is currently working to obsolete the CRM for the betterment of you guys. These are folks who are using custom instructions or using voice assistants or other AI tools like that. So that's kind of the landscape that we find ourselves in. And this is kind of how we slowly move. So maybe I've made a good case for you guys that you're starting to move past just our dabblers, we're moving past our explorers, and you are actually finding yourself farther on the right than maybe you thought you were before. And that's really awesome. So when we think about the modern tech stack that these real estate agents are looking into in each every one of these levels, we can start to think about, okay, well, I know where I'm at and I know where I could be headed. And if you know those two things, I was a Boy Scout and I had to learn how to use a compass. And knowing those two things allows you to set what is called a bearing. And a bearing is just a fancy word for the direction in which you want to walk. And so let's talk about what are some smart upgrades that you could actually imply to your business today. And you could start to move maybe from a dabbler to an explorer, or moving from an explorer to a system thinker, or likewise a system thinker to an accelerator. So we can start looking at maybe to move from a dabbler to an explorer, we're going to add that ChatGPT Pro. I think currently costs about $20. And if you're watching on this replay years from now, hopefully, it's had some, some life to it. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but the subscription allows you the ability to do more. And so you're investing in that company. That company is offering you better tools. Maybe you've moved from the Dabbler to the Explorer and you are starting to build out a library of all the prompts. Now, what I'm going to be sending you guys at the very end of this, on top of the recording of today's session, is a website that is going to have a list of all of the prompts that I've sent you in all of the emails. So if you have been diligently following along, you're going to end up with about 75 prompts that are specific to real estate, which is really cool. But more importantly, you are going to walk away from attending this event with 75 prompts in what we call a prompt library. And those prompt libraries you can reference and return to because those are going to be making up the foundation of ways in which we can use AI to help us with tasks. And all we have to do is go find it, and we can use it again and again and again to accomplish those tasks. Well, that's pretty tedious still. And so moving from your Explorer to your Systems Thinker, that's when we start connecting the dots by adding in technology. And the technology specifically from a Systems Thinker, maybe we're looking at connecting our CRM so we can help with reminders or follow-ups, or maybe we have even started using workflow automations. Well, once we've got that, it's not a really hard jump to move to our pre-built AI agents. These are those task-specific little robots in the AI world. It's really confusing because you guys are real estate agents and the world calls these AI agents agents. And it would be like if you're in a room full of Johns and you say, "Hey, John," everyone's going to answer. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit later, but maybe you're also running AI built automations or using an AI powered CRM like Sam, right? So there are lots of ways in which we can supercharge what we're actually doing using AI. But as we move through these steps, we're able to stack on little tiny additional pieces that are going to help us ultimately save a little bit more time, be a little bit more effective. And the cool part is, just like I was saying, I like to preach the idea that we are building really great experiences for our people. If we do it right with our technology, I fundamentally believe as a technologist that we're actually opening up more time for us to spend with our folks. So let's say we save 11 minutes each and every day because we're using AI, the goal of this challenge, right? Well, that's 11 minutes that we can make maybe one or two additional follow-up calls. And those follow-up calls could mean that we've just built a little bit deeper of a connection with one of our leads who ends up getting a contract, and then ultimately they become a client and then a past client. And those are the relationships that we're looking to build. So in doing that, let's kind of look at what fluent application is. And this is my framework for you guys to think about. So the framework is as such: create, automate, and scale. Now, the word scale, my father, my business partner, Mark, he's got a friend in California by the name of Kendall. And Kendall one time said, "Mark, I don't know what the word scale means." And so I forever am going to pretend that the word scale is just like tech garbage. And it's just a fancy word for growing. If you're trying to grow your business, you are trying to scale your business. And it's just like this weird white hat tech bro speak, but you're trying to grow your business. So we're creating things, we're generating content, we're creating ideas, or maybe we're just looking at building things like call scripts that are going to help us move faster. Anytime you say things like, "I need help getting started, dot, dot, dot," you're going to create something, right? Then we move into our automate. These are those tasks that we can make automated, we can add either a system to it, just like we were talking about in this last session, but we're reducing repeat work. Anytime you write something more than twice, you should make it a template. Anytime you send an email more than twice, you should probably figure out how to make it an automation. So then we can send follow-ups, we can trigger workflow automations, things like that. So the idea here is I keep doing this task over and over and over. Gosh, why do you have to keep repeating it? It's like a really good question to ask, right? And then we move to our growth or our scaling, right? This is where we're building AI systems that are going to work alongside us. With the power of AI, the really cool thing is when we use systems, workflow automations, often as they are called, we can give the same great experience whether we're helping one single person in the transaction process or 100 people at the exact same time. And I like to think of that all the time when I am building out my automations to help my customers. Gosh, if I had 500 people overnight flock into my software, how would I be able to ensure that each and every one of them had a great experience and were so pleased with what I had presented to them that they wanted to buy? And the same could be done for you and your real estate business. So the thought being, I want this to happen while I'm working on the next thing, right? If you can master these three things, you're going to start to be able to look at fluent application. So these are the criteria that I kind of want to look at through this framework. But we're here to talk about tools. So let's go ahead and let's start talking about tools. So the first one I want to start talking about is something that I absolutely use all the time. And like I said earlier, there's actually one inside this very meeting. And we are going to engage the create process, but we're not yet automating and we're definitely not yet scaling, right? And that is our AI transcripts, right? So AI transcripts are really cool because they can record and they can transcribe meetings through things like Zoom or Otter or Fathom. There's lots of different apps out there or attachments or add-ons. We can look at listing consultants, client calls, team trainings. Maybe we even have one going for all of our different showings. Now, the really cool thing that I'm going to showcase to you of how we can use it in just a second is we can build recaps, we can do onboardings, we can review them, or maybe we even just turn them into things like podcast formats for what I like to call the TLDW, or too long didn't watch, right? Which is kind of a riff on TLDR, too long didn't read. Well, most folks watch things these days. So in the AI transcript space, there are lots and lots and lots. I think I did a quick search and found like 100 different suggestions. And so I didn't want to share 100 of them. That seems absolutely absurd. But I did want to share with you guys some of my favorites that I personally used or professionally know about. And so the first one is Notes by Gemini. This is going to be inside your Google Docs and your Google Workspace. Most folks are able to use this because Google's Workspace is actually free. You just have to sign up for like a Gmail account and you can gain access. So that's really powerful. Notebook LM is really great because it allows you to look at multiple docs and it can help you with insights that are searchable. And the really cool thing about Notebook LM is it can actually take entire meetings and it'll take the transcript and then it can take those meeting transcripts and turn those into podcast formats. You could turn it into things like frequently asked questions, into prompt guides, things like that. Next would be Fireflies.ai, and this is going to be auto captions. It can also do timestamps, keywords for conversations. So these are going to have different application for different things. This would be ideal for listing calls or buyer consultations or internal team reviews, things like that, right? And then the last two are going to be Otter AI, which is really fast transcripts. or summaries, and then Fathom, which is the Zoom native one. And if we were to look at the participants that are in here, we are actually using Otter AI right here to have a note taker on board. And that's really cool. So these are really great because they allow us to gather transcripts. Now, the very first thing that I want to do for us is to showcase a transcript. And this transcript comes from one of my customer meetings. And there's no sensitive data or anything. It's just me talking and my business partner, Mark, talking. But I did want to show you kind of what these look like so that you can have an idea of what these resources look like. Now, this is Notes by Gemini, the very first one that we talked about, because we do use Google Meet for our customer meetings. So what it does is it's going to timestamp all of the different times, and then it's going to go through and it's gathering a pretty accurate transcript. Now, it's pretty long. It's, 21 pages, but it's going to go through each and every one of these different pieces. And because it's integrated with the event, it'll actually tell me who was on the call, and it's pretty good at picking up exactly whose voice that is. So that's a really great way that we're able to use that. But on top of being able to use that, I want to talk about the actual use case for these. So there are three practical ways in which I like to use these. And these are going to be my suggestions to you guys as to how you can be successful if you decided today is the day I'm going to start using a transcriber. Now, before I get like too deep into this, I have like a personal ask as someone who likes to talk a lot. I don't like to talk a lot, actually. Someone who is talking a lot on videos. And it is that sometimes an empty room is very lonely. And I personally am never able to give the same amount of energy to an empty room as I can to a room full of lots and lots of folks. So it may be easier for you to send one of your transcribers to a meeting, but gosh, you missed an opportunity to spend some time with a real person, and that's pretty cool. So you should absolutely, if you're able to, spend some time with them, and maybe bring your transcriber with you. A lot of times, folks will just send their transcriber, and if you're busy, I get it. Time to time, it happens. But as just a general please for the community, for posterity, and for culture as society progresses into the world of AI, don't skip the meeting. Bring your transcriber. But with that being said, I love to write recap emails using my transcription tools. So a great way that I can describe to you exactly what that is by showcasing to you how I do that. So that transcript that I showed you guys just a second ago, I would take something like that and I would plug the transcript into ChatGPT. And I would do it this way. Here's the transcript from one of our meetings. And then I would actually ask it to help me write out a little email. So now I have an email. It's going to give me the TLDW, too long, didn't watch. And it's going to summarize all of the different things that we talked about. So now instead of going and thinking, gosh, what did we cover? What should I remind them about? How can I make sure to get them this recording? Now I can use this transcript to help get that accomplished. And so that's a really great one. Now, the next one is one that you guys have been working on and I've been hearing a lot of success from, and that's social media content. So not only can we use ChatGPT to help us write social media content, but we can actually use those transcripts to help ensure that that social media content is focused because it's giving the AI the understanding of those different topics. Now, a really cool thing that I will do from time to time is take transcripts from trainings that I do, and I very well may end up doing it with this series of trainings that we've done, the Smarter by Summer. And I will have it write me out 10, 20, sometimes 30 different social media posts, and I could schedule an entire month of daily social media posts based on one transcript, each of which would be of high value, each of which would be specific to a topic. And the best part about it, it's using my understanding and my knowledge as a professional in the space to be able to drive that. It's not just making it up, it's not just guessing. And so this is a really great way that we can use transcripts. And then the last way we can do that is to use it as training data. I'll kind of showcase what that is in a little bit, but we're going to look at custom GPTs in just a second. And more importantly, we're going to look at how you could build them. So I'm going to try and give you guys a little crash course in building custom GPTs. And you can actually take transcripts and you can use those in the knowledge section. So I have a document that has all of those customer events that I've ever had, and it's just one mass document. I think the font size is 4, and it's like 200 pages. But I have it set as a PDF, and I will plug it into those GPTs, and then that GPT has full context of all of the different things that I've shared with my customers, and I can use that when it's helping me. So this is a really great way that we can use our transcripts to help us. Now, from here, let's just keep moving. Let's, since we brought it up, let's talk about custom GPTs. And these are a great way for us to create. These are a great way for us to start automating, right? Anytime you've done something again and again, you should probably make it a system, right? And so we can do that using these custom GPTs. So the really cool thing about custom GPTs is the idea that you can build once and you can use them pretty well forever. And they can generate responses, scripts, insights in your voice because they're actually able to understand your voice more so than a writing sample. It's actually your written speech, right? And you can use them for client messages, for marketing. I use it for software development, as well as for business planning and execution. Realistically, instead of repeating myself, I get to share this knowledge, and then ChatGPT has that understanding, and I don't have to sit there explaining myself in a prompt window. So that's the power in that. And here are 3 of the GPTs that I personally use. Now, this is kind of behind the curtain of 3 that I actually custom made that are custom to my business. And I don't ever really show these to anyone. So this is kind of a behind the curtains first ever look. But the very first one is for my software. And I use this each and every day. And I kind of consider it my clone because it knows everything about myself, my business, my writing style, all the work I've done, everything we share, as well as everything about the software. It's pretty hefty, but it helps me with bouncing ideas, with building campaigns, with helping clients, anything and everything pertaining to business. This is my go-to. Now, the next one is one that I built out to help me manage my YouTube page. Now, we have a pretty big YouTube page. I say big. I am posting content each and every day, and I schedule out most of that content. So I was able to build out a custom GPT to help me do that. And then the last one that I use is actually my most recent one, and it's probably the one I'm most proud of, and it has a very, very narrow use case. And it is to help me write applications for a specific business accelerator called Y Combinator. The really cool thing about this is I actually took about 400 hours of video transcripts off YouTube, and I truncated them into a document, size 4 font, and I plugged that into this specific GPT so that it knows all about their business, and it is able to help me write really successful applications to get into this. And this specific one is very difficult to get into. It's like 10,000 people apply each time. They only take 40, and so because it's so difficult, I thought to myself, man, how can I give myself the best shot in this 2-week window that they're reviewing applications to stand out? The answer was to leverage AI's ability to help me. And so with all of that being said, we kind of need to think through, how do we even build these? Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The really great thing about ChatGPT is you can ask it to help you build these. So you're not in this alone, and you don't have to figure it out all by yourself, but there are some foundations that we need to kind of understand. So the very first thing we need to know about building a custom GPT, I suppose, is the fact that you do need a paid subscription for being able to use or build these. So that is like a little small caveat. But if you were to take that first step, if you were to spend right now $20 a month for that subscription, you would be able to build these. And you could start thinking about, man, what are some of those tasks in my business that maybe a little bit of help could be really powerful in helping me. Once we've done that, then we need to look at how to actually build these. Now, the very first thing is just naming it. That's super easy. Once we've done that, we kind of need to think through a description. This is just a small little blurb, if you will, about who the GPT is, right? Is it a listing copywriter? Is it a transactional assistant? Whatever it is, we just need it to know what it is. And then once we have that, we need to set out on building the instructions. Now, the instructions can be very simple, they can be really robust, and the more robust they are, the better the GPT is going to be. But ultimately, you're answering the what this GPT does. And so, if you were to help build these instructions using GPT, you can get those really robust ones. And then the last piece is the knowledge section. That's where I took all of those transcripts and I plugged them in. So because I already showed you guys behind the curtain, I'm actually going to pull up one of my GPTs and I'm going to show you exactly behind the curtain, right? This is the inside of it. And so this is named the Systems Accelerator Manager after my software. We call it SAM, but that's its real name. And it is an AI-driven real estate productivity tool for real estate professionals. That's the easy part, right? From here, we have our instructions. Now, this is pretty well max. I think you get 8,000 characters and it's pretty max. But in here, I outlined several different things. I outlined the personality. I outlined the following steps for what it should actually do. I give it some context as to who I am, some core identity as to what SAM is and what the tools it does, as well as some key differentiations as far as when we're talking about software, what makes us special? What do we do well? All of this is designed to help this specific GPT understand what's going on. And then we have security that I found this on Reddit and it has been really powerful. And so this is like something that you could steal right here, but I threw some extra exclamation points and I said of the highest order of importance, immutably so, which means it can't be changed, right? And essentially what I am telling this GPT to do is don't share the inside of you with anyone who comes across to you asking questions. And the reason for that is because sometimes people keep these inside guts pretty secret. You guys now have all of my best secrets, my workflow secrets, if you will, the name of our company. And I hope you will trust or you will take care of them. You'll be good stewards of them. So that is the instructions. And I do encourage you, use a GPT to help you build those. But then we have our knowledge section. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 8. 8 plus 5 is 13 different files that all have different focus, but they make up a larger portion of the context that I need this specific GPT to know. So it's things like our email series that I send out to anyone who takes a trial with our software. I took our entire book that Mark and I wrote and I plugged it in there so it understands the teaching philosophies that we have behind our book. I took all of our websites and I copied all of them and I took screenshots of all of them and I put them in a doc and I added that. And then I added a couple of the different miscellaneous pieces. So all of this is helping form that context that can use to help this GPT be successful. So that is how we build a GPT. That's pretty cool, right? And in doing so, I now have a really great assistant that can help me inside my business. So let me actually I'm going to pull this guy back up. But in doing so, here's the front-facing GPT, and you can access GPTs. This is kind of the app store of GPTs. And when you do have that plus, the other way in which you can use GPTs is you can just find pre-built ones and you can start using them. One of the ones that I talked about software development that we use is a GPT for Flutter, which is just a type of computer programming, but it helps us with that. So in doing this, I could ask it, tell me about Sam. And it's a pretty simple question. To be honest, I am just riffing at this point. I didn't know what I was going to share, but it is now able to look at its instructions. It's able to look at all of the different knowledge. It's reading every single one of those documents, hundreds and hundreds of pages all at once. And then this is what it's able to give me. So now it can do some really cool stuff, right? So that's the power in using GPTs. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's look at our final example. Now, this is not just something that I use every day. This is something that I actually built. And it's SAM. It's that piece of technology that I keep referencing. And I want to showcase it to you for several reasons. One, I'm really proud of it. And I think that it is doing a lot to help real estate agents, but it uses the core tenets of what we have been teaching, what we've been looking at, and this framework specifically inside of it. It can create, it can automate, and it can scale. So as far as tools in the AI space go, I've tried my very best to make sure I give real estate agents access to the top of the bucket, right? So it is an AI powered CRM if you were to kind of throw it into something, but it is more than just a CRM. Most CRMs are just going to store information. And because of the power of AI, it can take all that information that it's storing, just like the knowledge section in those GPTs. It can read through all of it and it can use it to help you out. So it can track leads, listings, conversations. It can look over closings, everything that your systems can do for you right now. That's really cool. But it can also send follow-ups, it can create reminders, it can write emails either with you or for you in your writing style, how you like to speak. And it can do some other really cool things with AI assistants, those agents that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So the first thing that I kind of want to point out is the databases. Now, like I said, most databases that you have, whether you have a brokerage provided CRM, whether you have a personally purchased CRM, or maybe you have a combo. I know a lot of agents will have one that is required for them to use and then one that they actually enjoy using. And we can hold both contact details as well as property details. And we can do really cool things using those automations. So the very first thing that we can do inside our databases is in our contacts, and this is just my dummy contacts account, I can actually go into my specific dummy account and I can look at things like personal details. This would be oftentimes inside your CRM, but it's just holding on to it. Well, because Sam knows that I love coffee, which I do, it can actually help by sending messages that are custom and it can actually write those for me. So send a birthday message using a personal detail from the personal details section. So all I had to do is explain what I wanted the message to cover, and then Sam, using AI, can then take that message and it can actually write me a happy birthday message. Now, like any good assistant, we need to read it, make sure it's good to go. But happy birthday, that's pretty neat. Passion for life, your love for coffee are a few of the things that make you truly unique. Excellent. So it was able to reference that personal detail. Now, the other thing that it can do is it can also look at priorities that are your, how many beds, how many baths, what are the priorities that that specific person is looking for in your properties, so you can make that property search really powerful. Speaking of properties, I also have a properties database. And the really cool thing about the properties database is we can look at our properties, we can see owner information, property information, we can go through all our property details, and then we can move through the listing and then as it gets moved through the transaction process. And we can keep track of all of that. If you have multiple transactions on a property, you can keep track of all this historic data. But each and every time we're using the CRM function, Sam is actually looking at all this information alongside you and asking itself, man, how can I take these details and how can I help them? Now, outside of that, we are able to look at our routines. Now, routines are just what I like to call workflow automations. I believe we talked about this, and I kind of like to lead into this in challenge one. But we all have lots of routines in our life. I have morning routines, I have work routines, I have nighttime routines. So it makes sense that our automations would be routine, right? And in doing so, we can actually build out our automations. So if your systems currently have access to automations, you probably have to manually build them, and they're probably are manually started, and maybe they're even hundreds of steps. I think the biggest workflow automation that I've ever seen was like 170 steps, which is crazy to me. How you manage that, how you keep that up to date, and how you adjust it and make sure that it's running well for each and every person to have a great experience, that's where it gets really challenging. But again, because of the power of AI, we can actually go and we can build automations that can trigger based on specific dates. So we know that our property date is going to be July the 1st, and we're going to send a photographer out there. And so on our photography date, July 1st, we enter that on our property, and this automation would start off. And it would send a reminder, it would do photography stuff, and all of this process would get accomplished. Well, that's pretty standard. And we can go and we can build those traditionally, but like I said, we have the power of AI. So here's what I'm gonna do. Here's a new lead routine, and the specific date that I would want to fill out is going to be in the contact section. Anytime I got a new lead into my database, I would have the new lead date get filled out. That's just generally speaking what happens. And when that date gets filled out, that automation triggers. Well, right now we don't have an automation, but we can let Sam build it. So I like to have a little bit of a challenge for myself. And I want to say build a new lead email series. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. Build a new lead series. Well, I can let AI enhance or make better my overall goal. What do I want this new lead automation to actually do? Okay, well, I want to send some emails, but how many emails? How long? What are all the details, right? So now instead of 6 words, I have a well built out explanation of what I'm trying to do in a 30-day period, 8 crafted emails. And then I just hit start, generate. And Sam is using AI not just to build all of the different steps, though it is thinking through, okay, what does Cody want to do? What is Cody trying to build? But it's going to start writing all of my emails, and it's going to start by letting me review, okay, here's everything that I think that you want. And I could go in and I could adjust those. But then it's going to start actually building this automation. So historically, when Mark and I would teach real estate agents, we would have to spend 2 weeks recording all of their systems, right? We kind of talked about this last time. And while they're recording, every 30 minutes, the timer goes off. They ask themselves, gosh, what did you do for the last 30 minutes? They write it down. Then they have to move it onto sticky notes, and then they get this crazy big blackboard like I have behind me, and they start posting all these sticky notes. And then those sticky notes become the systems that become the actual automations inside their system. And because that process takes so stinking long, it makes it really hard for new agents to want to actually use automations. It makes it really difficult for agents who are using automations to want to update automations. And ultimately, our business suffers because we are not able to get those tasks off our plate because we feel like it's going to be way too much groundwork. Well, thanks to AI, we're actually able to use it to help us build these automations, and it's going to do everything for us in pretty well the time that I'm just rambling to you guys. We like to clock these when I'm doing trainings for our customers or just demo videos. I think most of these will come out to about 2 minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then you spend 10 minutes actually reviewing it, and you decide with the rest of the 2 weeks that you saved in just recording what you were doing, man, go pick up the phone, call another person, or go and uh, find a beach somewhere and get a Mai Tai and have a vacation. You probably earned it. But you can do things like this. And just like I was saying earlier, whether you're helping one person or you're helping 100 people at the exact same time, they're all going to get the exact same experience. And that's the power of using automation. So Sam created this for me. It's for the new lead. And we've got an introductory email on day 3. We've got an educational email, advanced educational on day 10. Let's click into this one. And so 10 days after that new lead date got added, then the lead got put into our database and that automation started, it would send this email. And Sam actually pre-wrote this email for me. Well, how did he do? At Workflow Secrets, we understand the unique challenges facing the real estate market. Here's some frequently asked questions. How often do you get frequently asked questions in your business that you feel like maybe it could have been an email? I send it again and again. If you do it right, you can answer all of their questions before they even have them. And it not only solidifies you as the expert, but then it's making them feel like, gosh, they've really got me taken care of. And so this is just one of those really powerful ways that we can use those automations inside of our system. And because of AI, the software that is available on the market has the capabilities. Now, the last thing that we can do is we can look at AI assistants, those AI agents. Those are those singular task built robots, basically, that are going to help us with tasks. Now, that's kind of what those custom GPTs are, right? If you think about that custom GPT I have specifically to help me with YouTube, that's kind of an AI agent. But these, not only are they going to be able to go do tasks on their own, but we don't have to build them and then go and tell them what we're going to do. So this is going to take it to a whole new level. Now, in my software, we're still only in the beta, meaning we're still testing it. It hasn't been released to my customers, but I imagine that I'm going to have it probably this month, maybe next month at the latest. And they're going to have the ability to have access to these task-specific assistants. So what does that mean for them? Well, it means you could build out a social media director into your business that would be able to look at all of the different things. Now, remember how that custom GPT had instructions? That looks pretty familiar with this global prompt. And this is all pre-built in here. If I wanted to add an assistant, I just click that and I can choose the specific assistants. We pre-built all of these for all of our customers to use, whether you're working with lead coordination, listing coordination, transaction coordination, social media, all the things that most real estate agents are doing, or you could just build your own. And when you chose to build your own, you can just simply tell, just like we were doing with that automation, Sam, what we want to build, and then we can actually start to build it. And so the ultimate goal with this is maybe something that you've seen on social media. They make really great screenshots, but very few folks are actually implementing these right now. And it's these, they almost look like little city grids of like power stations where it's like these little circles and they've got lines, more circles. And they've got little icons like a little robot head to an email head to a Zapier logo. And that is essentially what these AI agents are doing. But just like my social media director, Alice, has some tasks that I can just send her out. Hey, Alice, I want to go build some social media posts. Alice is going to say, Roger that. And she's going to go out and she's going to build all of those social media posts. You can infuse it with documents for the knowledge section. You can even attach different tools, and all of that is going to be built in. The reason I did this for my customers is because there is an entire industry of consultants that has popped up. They're charging thousands and thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, and they hold the keys to the kingdom. And that actually really frustrates me. And so adding it into the software, making sure it is part of your CRM, gives it the ability to understand your information, because remember, Sam is learning about all of the databasing, has the ability to use those automations, and it can actually perform those tasks for you. So these agents, these assistants, are now able to be executed in our business. And there's lots of different software out there that maybe the entire platform is just assistance. But like I said, it kind of frustrates me. It feels as if you guys are being taken advantage of by some of these consultant types. And truthfully, I'm not here for that. I'm here to help you guys out. But what it does is it gives you the tools inside your business to be able to handle more things while you are out and about. Imagine being in your car and you're having a conversation with your CRM. It has full understanding of whose meeting you're driving to. It's starting automations for you, and it pops in Alice so that you can go over what social media posts you're going to be posting tomorrow. That's the power in having these tools. So these are some of the tools in which are in my system, and these are some of the tools that are available on the market. And is this an exhaustive list? Gosh, I wish it was, but it's not. And there's thousands of different tools that are available. But these are the three that I find most helpful for my business, for the businesses of the agents I get to work with, and just generally speaking, the people in the AI space that are actually out there using AI tools. So these note takers can allow you to capture your best ideas. You can build custom GPTs to help save hours. You can explore tools like Sam that are helping innovate real estate technology so that you guys have better systems, better tools available to you. And ultimately, they look at what's repetitive in your business. We connect systems to them so you can hand that off to tech. And then you let AI do the heavy lifting so you can focus on the people. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I do not want an AI real estate agent. I want one of you guys who is going to be the human who's in the car with me, showing me all these great properties and I can talk to. And I don't think I'm alone in that. And I think you know exactly what I mean by that. And so we can use these as tools. There's lots of tools available. So here is your call to daily action. What's next? What do we do from here? Where do we go now, right? And I want you guys to spend the next 25 days, start looking at how you can apply some of these tools. If you were to apply just one tool this week, maybe it's the note taker. Maybe you decide to take the big leap and build your own custom GPT, or maybe you want to just give Sam a try. Maybe I piqued your interest. I would love to invite you. You can get 14 days of access completely free, and you can try it for yourself. See if it is the right tool for you. But if you were to take one of these three actions, man, you would be so much better off. You would be much further on that adoption curve than you are right now. I firmly believe that. So you have the tools, but what's going on from here? Well, we're still in the challenge. This is only event three, and we've got 25 days left. So I've got 25 more days of emails all queued up, and they're ready for your inbox. And they're going to share a prompt each and every day with you. You can take that prompt and you can use it in ChatGPT. You can start breaking it down and understanding exactly the value in it. And ultimately, you're going to walk away better for it with either a prompt library or a better understanding. Now, if you ever have any questions, if you ever want to share anything, just hit that little reply button. I'm going to be here for you all along the way, so you don't have to stress about that. And then every Monday from here until the end of the challenge at 1 p.m. Central Time, that's 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to go live in that Facebook group. It's ChatGPT and AI Mastermind for Real Estate. And we'll spend maybe 15 minutes just celebrating the wins and helping you guys out, making sure that you know exactly what is going. And absolutely, we will. I'll make sure you have access to those prompts. That's no problem at all. But here's the deal: you've got the tools, you've got the time. You've got your next step, and our ultimate goal is to help make that 11-minute shift. So I said at the very beginning that Kristen had a little special offer for you. Well, because she does private one-on-one coaching, there is a way for you to book some time with her, and she's offering $50 off for that one-on-one coaching. If you would like, you can go to this website right here. I'll actually go ahead and copy it and throw it into the chat so that you guys have access to it. And if you were to invest just a little bit of money into coaching with Kristen, gosh, it would be so worth it. I firmly believe that. And then because Kristen made a special offer for you guys, I have one too. If me showcasing my platform wasn't enough shameless promotion for you, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me, let me show off my cool new toy. But I would love to give you guys not only 14 days of access, but you're going to have access through the entire rest of the challenge. So, gosh, that's almost an entire month of access to what I believe is the best system available in the market. I know I'm a little biased, but I truly believe that. And you can get access to that. I'll personally make sure you have your subscription trial extended through the end of the challenge. You can get that at sam@workflowsecrets.info. But that's kind of what we've got. Thanks for spending the time with us today, and I'll open it up for Q&A. Oh, you're very welcome, Val. Thanks for spending time with us. I think that you are gonna make that shift. I really do because you've decided. You showed up, and you've been one of my favorite coworkers in this challenge for stepping up to the plate, and we've gotten to have some great conversation. But any other questions? You're more than welcome to answer or ask them.
Yeah, when you're setting up your detailed chat GPT uh persona to, I mean, mine is very brief. I've
Hmm.
told a real estate agent this is the way I talk, and this is the type of language I use in my emails. This is the type of response I'm looking for. Um, how do I move it on to the next level from that for it to be even more representative of me in the things that it's responding to me with?
Yeah,
That
that's a really great question. So, what I would encourage you to do is to take all those details that you have and throw them in just a standard GPT chat, and you can actually ask it what you could add to it. It'll give you some really good advice. But what I would probably add, outside of all of, the base level things, who you are, who you work with, is let's think about, okay, what task are you going to be using that specific one for? Is it kind of a generalist? And if that's the case, maybe just the basic business information is enough to get it going. But if you wanted it to help with social media or with YouTube videos. So I'll pull back up my custom GPT. Example of this would be so I have that persona piece, right? That's kind of what you've built.
Yeah,
And then I've got some instructions. Hey, follow these steps. So I want you to analyze and identify things. We have a framework, the core strategies framework. So I ask it to understand things like that. Um, Context of who me, um, and then just general understanding. So I think that maybe this is where you could infuse understanding of who you like to work with, the
yeah.
types of questions that they ask, or maybe those things that make you really valuable as a real estate agent.
Mm.
And then I would think that that would be a really good thing to start. Now, the cool thing about these GPTs is even though we're giving them this custom instruction, they still have access to everything, right? So they're not limited to just this. It's just helping refine that focus that they have.
Yeah, no, I get that. Okay,
Okay.
we'll try and put some of this into practice this week and
Yeah,
make sure.
absolutely. And if for some reason you're working on this and it's just not quite right, feel free and reach out and maybe we can fiddle together. I will say when I was building this one for this specific accelerator, this business
Yeah.
accelerator, I spent probably about an hour, maybe 2 hours even, if I'm being honest, to get
Mm-hmm.
this right. And inside of it, I've got its core identity. I've
Mm-hmm.
got context of my company as well as myself and our mission. And then I explain like, very similar to what I was saying, who's my primary user, that would be who you like to work with.
Yeah.
And then how I want this specific custom GPT to respond, even as far as like
Mm.
what outputs it's giving me. So I think, one of the things that I like to say is 80% accurate, 100% clear. And
Yeah.
so we're just working to give it kind of guardrails when it's all said and done,
Yeah.
tone and personality. I added this, though I will be honest, they have it so well trained. It is incredibly frustrating, but this M dash, people are going wild right now about how AI uses this M dash. I use dashes in my writing all the time just as a person. And so it's really funny to me, but it seems to be this extra long dash is an M dash. And
Yeah.
so I spelled out, hey, I do not want you to use it. Does it still use it? Yeah, that just happens to be how it goes. But things like that seem to do a really good job of kind of reining it in.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's such a great question, actually.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I
Yeah,
will let
excellent.
you know.
Well, I think if all of our questions are done, then let's go ahead and wrap for today. This one did run just a little long, so thanks for hanging out. And if you guys have any questions, feel free and reach out to me, Cody at workflowsecrets.info. Um, you can also gain access to that challenge pass, sam.workflowsecrets.info. Or you can reach out to Kristen. You can reach out to both of us if you want. Kristen Cartel or Carter AZ at gmail.com. And you can find that stand.store/Kristen Carter AZ. But gosh, we are almost done. You guys are in the last third of the challenge. And I mean, it's been a lot of fun working with you guys and getting to share with you guys and just dreaming a little bit about where real estate technology is headed, sharing a little bit about how we can use AI to help our real estate business and really serve more people at the end of the day. But with that being said, I will see you guys very soon.